they're going to hang themselves with their own rope. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. That's an interesting framing of it too, because right, if it's so there's a sports psychology framing, which is basically like when you confront stress, like it's all about how you're appraising it in a situation, right? Like, do you see it as a challenge or do you see it as threat? And if you see it as a challenge, that means like you're sort of excited to take on the challenge, and it literally has like physiological outcomes, like your body reacts in like a more positive way than if you interpret it as threat, where like your like pulmonary arteries like shut down and like blood rushes back to the center of your body and like away from your brain and your limbs. But I can imagine a similar. Sorry, yeah.
To add to that, it's like there's one of my favorite clubs in the world. You can go on my Instagram and see this heckle. So it's the Improv in Schaumburg in the Woodfield Mall. Okay, it's an amazing club, and it's a huge club in Schaumburg, Illinois. And I've been going there for 15 years, and it's like a family,
Yeah.
And it's inside a mall, and it's like a big theater. And so I'm doing a show on a Saturday, and that's like was pretty packed. I ran my hour. I had my new hour. I'm ready to tape. I felt good. The second show was a little bit lighter, still good, but a little lighter. And I had a couple of jokes that a woman really didn't sit well with her. And the heckle became like a 15-minute Q&A TED Talk where I just let her tell me all the things that were wrong, and then me talking back to her and saying, well, this and this. To the point where she got up and left. And the crowd goes crazy. And so that was a great seminar of, I already did my hour. I felt good.
Yeah.
I already have another hour coming in, and now I have maybe out of that 20 minutes that I was disrupted, I might get 10 minutes out of it of a bit.
Yeah.
So it becomes like a workshop. So in that way I used it. And she left on her own volition because she didn't like that the crowd sided with me, and I never attacked her. I just asked her questions.
Right.
So that's one way to deal with it, and it worked because I had already done a show and it's later. But when it's like, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, and everyone's coming in from work, and this is their night, and the babysitter's there, I want to give them a good show, and I don't want somebody to take away from that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so in that situation, you didn't interpret that as being like a threat to you in any way or putting more pressure on you. Because ultimately that's what, basically trash talk, heckling, what it does is, sorry to get sort of like, there's a study out of Georgetown a couple years ago that looked at trash talk in the workplace, right? And the thing that they said is that it raises the psychological stakes of competition, right? And the idea is that it puts more pressure, right? You have more pressure to succeed. You have more to gain, more to lose. So if someone's heckling you, I could almost imagine, right, a performer feeling more pressure in that moment, like how to respond, how to deal with this. And it's like, are you going to fail under that pressure, like a basketball player who's getting trash talked to or heckled, or are you going to succeed in spite of it, sort of thing, or win it, I suppose, and not just in spite of it. But I imagine that, like as you were saying, that it's probably very individualized by performer in terms of like how they feel that pressure.
Totally. I mean, I've seen some comedians just hate hecklers. I'm not going to name names, but they just do not like hecklers. Yeah. They want to do their act and they want to leave. I've seen other comedians can't wait for a heckler. Will fuck with the crowd so they really get hecklers and they just only want confrontation. And then I've seen comedians, kind of I think I'm in the middle. Like, I'm there to work on some stuff, but if something happens, all right, ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I would like to just go on stage and see what happens. But it's like, if people pay $25 to see me and something doesn't happen, they're going to be bummed out. So I got to have my stuff, prepared, but I'm always open to happy accidents.
Yeah. So, in the movie, you allowed yourself to be very vulnerable throughout the process, right? I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Only people like you get that, and I know I was the guinea pig, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very uncomfortable situations, like really, but like, why would, like, how did you, like, first of all, like, talk to me about that vulnerability, because to me it felt like, I mean, it was very visceral, and like, what did that add to the project, and in what ways was it necessary?
Wait, I know what's visceral mean again? It's very what?
Like it feels like raw and like in your face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your question? Why was
what did the vulnerability sort of like add to the project? What more did you what did it give you as part of the project? And in what ways was that vulnerability necessary, I think, to even make that movie?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I think I was, finding myself out more as an artist and, as a thing. And like, in Hollywood, you're supposed to be like this actor or this comedian, and then you're like supposed to be a thing, and then no one really knows you, and you're over there and you do your stuff, whatever, and then you're written about, and then you're put away until your next project.
Yeah.
But I just come off the Jamie Kennedy Experiment, and it was very much Jamie, centric. And even though it was comedy and it was with real people, there was still a lot of myself in that. I pranked, my parents and that stuff. So I felt like people were getting to know me anyway. And so I started making this as a side project. My reps really didn't know what I was doing, and I was probably putting myself out there a little too much. But now, in a way, a lot of people said it was ahead of its time, because now every celebrity is like, I'm eating yogurt, that's where the world is now. So I think that for me, dude, it was just painful, like, thank God I had like one of my best friends in the world who I love and who was like there for me. And we started out as the comedy thing and like filming my sets, and it says, okay, this bit works, cut this bit, boom. And then in the middle of it, we would have a heckle. And then as we started going through like 5 or 6 clubs, I'm like, dude, all these heckles are so funny. They're like funnier than my act. And he's like, I know, right? I'm like, let's put this together. And then we're both like, I think we have something here. This is like a side project. And so in order to do that, he knew that I was gonna have to be exposed, and I knew that. But I just knew that I knew that I was willing to go there, so I had to do that to show the plight of the performer, if you will. Yeah. And I needed to go, and I needed to know and show people how painful it can be. And I swear, man, it was very painful, but I was also, my filmmaker hat was just a little stronger than my performer hat. And I was like, put your crybaby emotions over there and deal with them. But like, as I got to know people, my secret sauce was that people that I grew up watching, people that I loved, titans in our business that I idolized, also experienced the same thing. Yeah. And then I realized that I'm not alone. So then it supercharged me to go out and really be as vulnerable as I can, because I mean, if I'm vulnerable, like, who's going to be mean to like a puppy, right? Like, and some of the stuff, dude, I got from some of the greatest people I couldn't put on camera. Like, I can't even tell you this, I don't want to get in trouble, but Phil Jackson. Yeah. He gave me some of the, I guess I can tell you this. I wanted to interview him, and he was like, why? He said, why are you doing this project? I went to like the Lakers ring ceremony or something. And I said, because I'm in pain, dude. I want to find out who these people are. And he goes, do you realize by doing this project, you're giving power to the thing that you despise? And I was like, damn. And then he just walked away. And I was like, Bill hit me with that sauce, right? Like, oh, damn.
Fucking amazing.
He just took me to the like promised land and like gave me like a ring, and he walked away. And then John Sally's like, yo, we gonna do this interview or what? And I was like, John, dude, And it took me like 20 years. And if you watch The Last Dance and everything, that's Phil really is the Sherpa, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. And I was like already in it so much. I'm like, I'm going to finish it. But